Hey, everybody. This is the Zoom call for April 9th. Nobody's here yet, so I just started to record. This is the shameless promotion for Cheerios. That's my snack food. I'm going to sit here and write jokes. So, oh, look, here comes somebody. Nancy's coming. Hey, Nancy. Hey, Nancy. Hey! Oh, no volume.
Okay.
Hi
Can you hear
there.
me? All right. Are we the only two today?
So far.
And I'm late.
It's okay. I started recording. I did my promo for Cheerios. And
Oh, for Cheerios.
yeah, Cheerios.
Oh, I love it.
Maybe they'll send us money and sponsor us. So
Yeah.
I was just.
Doesn't work. Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
Are you, it's early there. Yeah?
9 o'clock.
Did
9 o'clock.
Did you have breakfast yet?
Oh yeah. We're up. So I have a small ranch, just an acre, but I still have horses. And so we're up at like 4:30 in the morning.
You
And
have horses on 1 acre?
yeah. Haven't you seen the pictures? Haven't I sent you enough pictures of what my
Yes,
property?
but that just seems like such a small, like I sit on 2 acres. And that doesn't seem like a lot of space.
So yeah, we can have up to 5 horses on here. It doesn't, you don't have them out grazing. You have to feed them every meal they eat. There's no grass. But yeah, I grew up in Northern California where we had 5 acres and we had 3 horses, and they ate. We still had to feed them, but it's different out here in Arizona. And then there's a city in Northern California called Norco, North Corona, I think is the name of the city, Norco. And it's a horse.
Wait. North Corona?
Yeah. Yeah. North Corona. And yeah, because there's even Corona, isn't it Corona Beach by Laguna Beach?
Huh.
And so it's a horse town, Horse City, USA, Horsetown, USA or something. And pretty much every lot in that city is at least an acre, and people have horses on there, and they will just dial in every square inch of their acre is done. There's no unused piece of that acre. And some of them were just beautiful. Every niche, the barns were beautiful, and the way they fit into these acre spaces. But yeah, I have a huge barn in my backyard. Huge barn.
That's so amazing. I don't even think in New York. I'm wondering if they would even let you have a horse on an acre of land here. I mean, I just can't even imagine that being a thing here. You have me very curious now.
You have me very curious now too. Why wouldn't they let you have a horse? Is it zoned a certain way? Is it because of why? Why wouldn't you have a horse there? Especially because where you live is so old. People had horses there at one time.
Yeah, but it just, I mean, zoning for sure. So how do they zone the 2 acres or 1 acre pieces of land? How are they zoned in California that you can have a horse?
So, well, I'm in Arizona. In California, where I lived in Northern California, we had 5 acres and we had 3 horses, and I was young, so I don't know what the zoning was. But here, where I live in Maricopa County, and I don't know if it's specific to the Rio Verde foothills where I live, which is north of North Scottsdale. So we are not part of a city. We are a county out here. And but city of Scottsdale, you have people with horses in their backyard still, and trails to ride on city streets.
And is it zoned, is like Scottsdale, is it zoned agricultural or?
So we're residential out here, but we are permitted to have horses on our property, and we can have 5. I believe they have to be your own horses. I don't think I could like rent out space and have more than 5 horses. I don't know. I think I could rent out, like I have a 4-stall barn and I only have 2 horses in it. I think I could rent out those 2 spaces and still be within the, you know, the rules, because you can only have up to 5 horses on an acre. And I have I think I'm 1.24 acres. So, you know, there's all these, if there's a rule, there's a loophole. And a lot of our rules out here were designed by the Board of Realtors, not by anybody who did a study on water or land use or, you know, the Board of Realtors. So we have water issues, and, you know, we're in the desert, we're in the Southwest desert.
And horses drink a lot of water. Actually,
No, if they're not being worked, you know, my horses are just, you know, they're trail horses. When I was riding, when we were all younger, and my horse passed away a couple years ago, up 6 to 10 gallons a day. That's what my vet told me. So I had a neighbor who got all mad because when we moved in, we brought horses to his non-horse neighborhood in this equestrian community where there's ranches that have, you know, a couple hundred and a couple hundred and a couple hundred. And he was concerned that my 3 horses that we trail ride, would drink all the water from our well, our shared well. We share a well with 4 homes. And I had to ask my vet, you know, what's the deal with that? He's all worried about my 3 horses sucking us dry. And she's like, they'll drink 6 to 10 gallons a day. And I have water in buckets, so it's not an automatic feeder. So I can see it only goes down about, you know, you do the math equation, it's 6 to 10 gallons a day. But you're right, when you have 100 horses, then you're talking about a lot of water. Right. But hello.
Marla, hello, welcome. We're talking about horses and the fact that in Arizona, she's connecting to her audio. We can't hear you yet, but that's okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, we hear you now. We hear you now.
Hi Susan.
Hi, Marla.
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday, Marla. Today's the day. I was wondering if you were going.
Have you hit 1,000 yet? I saw your post. Have you hit 1,000?
I am on 788, I think.
Okay,
I know the anticipation.
Okay, we're gonna tell everybody. We're gonna tell everybody on MuddyUm. Well, if you post your post again in the Outlaws group, we will tell everybody that they need to go out there for your birthday.
Absolutely, thank you.
And like your post, yeah. Happy birthday! What are you doing today? Are you like having a birthday celebration?
I am.
People to drive by your house.
I'm having a Zoom. I will be drinking all the Prosecco myself, eating all the cake myself.
Yeah, I have a kiss for you.
Oh, thank you. You'll have
I'm on board with you. I'm on board with you.
Thank you. So it's kind of exciting. So do you follow the bad influence?
The bad influence. I think I follow, but I'm not a writer.
Okay.
I'm a writer and an editor for it.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Yeah, and then they're hosting my dystopian diaries on the Never Ending Tavern publication that they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he did a special idea stream yesterday, and he put in all the great words that I would love to use, and I used it in a poem.
I get tagged. I get tagged kind of frequently, and I haven't done anything yet. Part of my issue is everybody wants me to write for them, and I have so many hours in the day, and I spend a lot of time in classes and educating myself and reading. I have an aggressive goal of reading 200 books a year. And
wow,
so
that's intense.
That's crazy.
That's intense.
It's intense.
There's only 52 weeks in the year, Susan.
I know. I could not do this without audiobooks. And I,
Oh, I love audiobooks.
you know, I dovetail things. So I go for a nature walk for an hour and, listen to a
Yeah.
book for an hour.
Yeah.
Whatever, I'm house cleaning and I'm listening to books. So it's totally doable. I read a post on MuddyUm that actually some math brain did an analysis of what it takes to read 200 books a year, and it's totally doable. And
Is it an hour a day?
It's a minimum of an hour a day. Yes.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
keep going. I want to hear. So how many books are you reading? Like right now, you're listening to how many and you're reading how many?
So the biggest challenge for me is that I have to track it. And so that takes time. Just anytime you track something takes extra time away from the doing of the thing. And so I really abhor tracking. It's just not this thing that I like to do, but I realize I have to do it if I want to see what my results are. So, I have a tracking journal now for things like, my money that goes in, my money that goes out, classes I actually finished, because I'm a starter, not a finisher.
Yeah, me too. I understand that.
So the idea of reading 200 books and tracking that, it like gets a big deal. And, but I'm on track really right now. I'm on target for getting to 200 books this year. The best part of it is that it's totally mind expanding. It's just like, I also have this habit of listening to a TED Talk every day. And so when you have this aggressive of a goal to input and expand your mind, it totally changes how you write. It totally changes how you view the world.
Yeah, it's great. I try and read a daily every day, and I read about between 10 and 20 Medium posts, and I always have a book on the go. I woke up this morning, I thought, what I want to read? I want to read Jane Eyre. It's my birthday. I can reread Jane Eyre if I want.
I think that readers and writers are among the most, they're the luckiest, most blessed people on the planet.
Yeah.
Because we live in the space of words and ideas.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially now.
Yeah.
Great for this time. Because isolation is great for readers and writers.
Yes.
It's perfect.
Yes, and so while lots of people are complaining about being inside and being all by themselves, I'm in heaven because this is, people just are like not bothering me the way they used to.
I get a bit irritated because my family are like, come on downstairs, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm writing this. Yeah, I have to make myself go and socialize with my family.
But I had to do that before, force myself to go socialize. And so now I have a good excuse not to.
Yay.
We're all off the hook. Susan, I want to know what you're listening to right now. What book are you listening to right now? When I started doing audiobooks, I do the same as I do with reading. So when I was reading, audio helps me speed up the process, but also it alleviates the strain on my eye, which is very real.
Yeah.
I literally had years where I stopped reading because of my eye problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I'm reading right now, let me tell you what I'm reading right now. But when I was reading physical books, I always had a stack of them by my bedside, so there wasn't just one. So it's the same with audio, and I flip-flop back and forth. So what I'm into right now, I'm listening to something called This Is Not a Drill, and it comes out of the UK, and it was done by, it's published by a group called Extinction Rebellion. And it's a very active movement it's a global movement that was started in the UK. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
This is not a drill. Now,
these are the guys closing down BP garages and headquarters.
Yeah, and they have movements, civil disobedience movements all over the planet right now. It's a fabulous, fabulous book. This is not a drill. It's actually gone into my required reading list for people that come here for retreats.
Oh,
Yeah, I have a
Wow.
required
Oh,
reading.
what's on that required reading list? That's interesting.
yeah, you should put that in
tell-
the group for us. Put it in the group for us.
Yeah, I will, but I'll tell you, the books include Sapiens by Yuval Harari, Yuval Noah Harari. He's got 3 books, but the 2 that are on the list are Sapiens and Homo Deus.
Okay.
There's another book by Robin Kimmerer. She's a poet, an author, she's a botanist, and she's indigenous Potawatomi from the Midwest of the country here in the United States. And her book is called Braiding Sweetgrass. It made me cry. It really made me cry. There's a book called, well, most people know Hero with 1,000 Faces, right? By Joseph Campbell.
Yeah.
So that's on the list. Between
Great
the
for writers.
Yes, fabulous. And also it's really good for helping to get through the power of mythology and Greek mythology and any of the mythologies across the planet that inform and impact and actually keep us tied and kind of enslaved to the mythology. It's a way to bust through a lot of biases that a lot of times you don't even know you have. Another one that's on the list is Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. That book also made me cry more than Braiding Sweetgrass. And then my list, I'm just giving you a couple, but these are like top of the list. And then there's another one called Never Split Difference. And it's the subtitle is Negotiate Like Your Life Depends on It. And it was written by a man who did hostage negotiations for the FBI, but globally. So these were high stakes, life or death, cartels or pirates or, like high profile negotiations where they all were life or death. And then he now has a consulting organization called Black Swan in the Washington, D.C. area. But the book is fantastic, and there's so many great lessons about how we negotiate, not just deals, but just in our own interpersonal relationships. So that's the short list.
Very cool. That's very
great.
I'm getting ready to do some retreats here this summer. And part of the retreat is, and the retreats are designed to help people bust through cognitive biases and maybe biases they don't even know they have yet.
Yeah.
And it's an intensive retreat. And it's the start of something big. But these books that I just gave you, they're all required reading before coming to the retreat.
Great. Well, I'm reading Embrace Your Weird. I can't remember the name of the author at the moment, but she's an actress. And I really like Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way.
Let me tell you, Marla, I picked up The Artist's Way when I was still working for IBM, and it was too early for me because I was so ingrained, I was so engrossed with my IBM career, I had no time for it, but it looked good. And so when I got out of the IBM career and then I got out of my, full-on online business, when I got rid of all of that, I found that Julia Cameron had done a second book called It's Never Too Late to Begin Again. And she basically took the Artist's Way process and she rewrote it and redesigned it for people who are midlife, post huge career, and start looking to restart something for their, their retirement years. But they're not, they're not retiring. They just want to have something that they're doing, like, for instance, be a writer or have a third thing that, have the next big chapter of their life. And
Right.
I found that really helpful. And the fact that it's geared towards 50 and over
Yeah,
it's
I will look out for
fabulous.
it.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really wonderful. If you like The Artist's Way, you'll really love that one too.
Okay, I'll look out for
Okay.
that one.
I have them down. I wrote them down.
Embrace Your
What are
Weird.
you
I wrote
reading,
that down.
Nancy?
Pardon?
What are you reading?
Oh, everything on Medium that I can. I'm reading a lot of stuff on Slackjaw because I want to try to be funny. The problem with my funny is it sounds too angry, I think, a lot of the time. But Judd Apatow says angry people make the best comedians.
Yeah, I mean, look at Amy. What's her face? There's a lot of anger in her stuff.
Yeah.
She's hilarious.
Yeah, and she's hilarious. So,
Yeah.
but I'm reading a lot of that, and I just read something else that was really funny this morning that Susan, you posted about it. You posted it. The article, somebody got curated for humor, and it's really good about laughing again, now that we're in the midst of all this.
Yeah.
So I want to write something for that contest. I'm also reading a lot for other, I want to start submitting to contests. So that's one thing I want to do. So I'm reading a lot of past winners of those contests. And
good idea.
It's interesting, I think my work would stand up against it. I just have to have the balls to do it.
Yeah, it takes practice to get confident with it. So you just keep coming on to places like this and practicing with people like us.
Yeah. Well, getting good books to read.
More confident.
Yeah, getting good books to read, other things to read, hearing how you guys do it. But yeah, I think the most important thing is reading more of what I want to do. So I'm trying to read more screenplays, more scripts, more screenplay stuff because I want to write in that area, niche. So, that's a whole different way of writing. Someone told me that I needed to watch Ozarks. Have you guys been watching Ozarks?
Oh, I love Ozark.
I love
So
Ozark.
I watched the first episode. Don't give it away. I watched the first one.
I started season 3 and I got into it because of Christy, and it's fabulous writing. I mean,
That's what everybody says. It's the writing. You gotta pay attention to the writing. So,
but it's not very funny.
It's not.
No, it's not. It's not funny, but it's ironic, and it's got a lot of black humor.
Yeah, it's got a lot. What was that? What just happened? What was that? And I like stuff like that. And I think my non-humor stuff that I write is like that, where I think anyways, that I write a way that makes people go, whoa, did she just say that? Without saying it?
Yeah, we have a lot of very dark humorists on MuddyUm, and I love that style. I believe personally that the people who write the best comedy, the people who write the best humor, they're incredibly, it's very hard to do, and they're incredibly intelligent people, and they are very in touch with their dark side. It's the dark side, right? It's the dark side that drives you to the light side. You can't this is a Buddhist thing. This is fundamental, right? You can't have intense joy, intense happy, intense this on the positive side unless you can feel right, because it isn't as pronounced. You don't
know the difference. You don't know the difference.
You don't know the difference. If you just live in a life of everything is hunky-dory and it's very monotone, right?
And it's not reality. You're not living in a real world. And I know people who live like that, who want to live in that bubble of everything's always rainbows and unicorns. And when reality hits, it's a very tough bubble to keep together.
Yeah. And so
I know that world.
So I really believe that humorists are among some of the most intelligent people on the planet. I mean, look at, and satirists in particular, right? Mark Twain, right? Look at all the brilliant satirists. They literally take the darkest subjects and twist them just a little bit to make you smile and laugh. And it takes an amazing crafting of the language and skill of, you know, manipulating the language to be able to do that.
The language, that's the thing. You know, George Carlin I thought was fantastic. I love Dennis Miller. But I can't think of anybody like, okay, Amy Schumer, right? That's who we were talking about.
Yeah.
Who else? Tina Fey. I like Tina Fey. I have her book.
Oh, me too.
Posse Pants.
Well, Dave Chappelle, I love Dave Chappelle, and he can be very raunchy, but I mean, he's also, you know, he treads in very dark spaces as well, but you know, he comes out and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I like him. Chris Rock. I love
Chris Rock.
He goes into the dark side way, maybe a little early, but yeah.
But it's very funny. It's funny stuff. So I think this is a skill. And so I'm enrolled, and Jennifer Pike, who writes with us, she and I didn't realize she was in it too, but I'm enrolled in this comedy business school, which is run by Scott Dickers. And I don't know if you know who Scott Dickers is, but do you know The Onion?
Yeah.
The Onion. So it was a very wildly, still is a wildly popular satire publication. You see some of their online posts pop up every once in a while. You can Google it, The Onion. Anyway, he was the founder of The Onion, and he runs this comedy business school. And that's been a fabulous experience, just going through and hanging out with, you know, very talented working comedy writers, and then, you know, going through his course, and his course is really, really good as well. It's really worthwhile.
Yeah.
So, and it's designed for people who specifically want to make a living writing comedy.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I'm taking notes. I always take notes when I talk to you guys.
Well, I'm interested in writing comedy, but I'm writing I'm a quarter way through a novel at the moment, so I just feel like I want to get that done before I move on, because I also have a habit of starting things and not finishing them, so I really want to get that finished.
Yeah.
And then I'll look at my, developing other passions.
So
guys, listen, I'm going to go and have a nap in a while because I want to be nice and fresh for tonight.
Hey, wait, where are you, Marla? Where are you?
I'm in London. I'm in London.
Okay.
In the UK, in England.
Well, I want to share something with you that Lisa Boland in the Ayland Islands shared with me. I want to share this with you.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw it. Hold on one second. Hold on. That's not it. Hold on. Stop. Okay, hold on. Let me try that again. Here it is.
Hey, Miss IBM, get with the program here.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, so check this out. It's a Facebook group. It's called Bin Isolation Outing. It has half a million members.
Wow.
But here's what's so funny about it. I just want to go down here a little bit. It's pictures of people dressing up and taking their bin out to the street.
Okay.
And some of these, I think it's maybe started in Australia, but it's become this huge thing. 500,000 people, and people just dress up with their dogs and pets, and this. Here's a guy who's almost naked.
Oh my God, I know him. That's my neighborhood. No.
And it's grannies.
You're joking.
It's people in costumes. It's grannies. The videos are just hilarious. So, and it says, so the bin gets out more than we do.
That's true.
Bin isolation outing. And so people are taking home videos of dressing up and taking their bin out.
Well, this, of course, is how my dog got lost the other day, because my husband was taking the bin out, didn't notice the dog trailing behind him, and came back in, and the dog was outside. We didn't realize. And so, you know, she was wandering around barking for a while, and then someone came along and took her away.
Oh no!
You know. And so we were cycling around the neighborhood looking for her, and my husband actually found her eventually. And the woman was walking her up and down the street, hoping that someone would, you know, recognize her.
Oh,
And that's what happened.
Oh my goodness. Well, when I saw this bin isolation outing Facebook page, I thought, wow, this is really fun. This is just a fun thing, and everybody's contributing. And I thought, oh, what can we come up with? Like, what could we come up with to dress up and do? I mean, what other kinds of things do like taking the bin out?
Well, listen, we could dress up in bin liners, because I was talking to Kristen Hill today. She's part of the Bad Influence. She's in New Zealand, and her neighbors invited her to something. Well, they kind of live in the same house, so they're isolating together. And she turned up, just to make the kids laugh, she turned up in a bin, a bin liner, and she looked so cute. She looked like a model.
Like you put it on and you like decorate it.
No, she made it into a dress. Oh. She made, but it had like writing on it. It said trash. How do you share stuff? I wonder if I can share that with you. Let me have a look.
So if you go down to the bottom, where the chat room and everything is, there's a thing that says share screen.
I am share content. Yes.
Share content. Oh, yours probably looks a little different. Share content, and you click on that. And then when you click on it, it'll give you a screen that says what screen do you want to share. And there's lots of choices. So I always have like a second window up. And that's what I always share, my second window. But you see, you can, right? You can share lots of different things.
Okay. So let me have a look and see if I can get hold of it.
You have a look.
I think, you know, she might like to join us. I think she might.
Oh, anybody can. Anybody can. Absolutely. We don't care. We don't care.
I don't think she sleeps very much, but she might be sleeping now. Because New Zealand, I don't know what time is it in New Zealand. Okay, that's her. Can you see that?
Oh, let me see. Yes, I think so. Hold on. Yes. Oh, sexy.
I know. She looks great. I like that.
Oh, you figured out the share. Good for you.
Yeah. I had to put it in my photographs first.
Yeah. So is that in New Zealand?
Yeah, that's in New Zealand. That's where she lives.
That is fabulous.
Yeah.
And then
now I don't know how to get back to you guys.
Oh, you go back to that. You go back to that share screen, share content, and just unshare. Stop sharing. And that's it. That's how that works.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Look at that. You mastered the technology.
I did.
You're the boss of that technology.
So that's how I can share my poems.
Yes, you can. You can share video. The video doesn't do very well though. It gets really very jumpy. But if you have just a single screen, it works really well.
Okay. So can I read? Can I read my poem before I go?
Yeah, read. Yeah. Go ahead, read.
Let me have a look and see if I can find it.
Marla, this is the one you did for. This is the one you did for that went on the Bad Influence.
Yeah. Did you see that one?
I want to. I want to make sure I see it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll read it for you first, and then. Oh, I haven't been able to get it, but hang on. I'm going to take a picture of it.
It's
and
okay.
Then I can share.
We're good. We're good. Nancy, do you have anything to read today?
No, not today. I'm coming back around from the dark side of the moon. I've had to have my nose in other things besides fun stuff.
I was thinking about reading. I was thinking about reading my piece about the house, the message from your house.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this idea, Marla. Are you putting up your poem on the screen?
I'm taking a picture of it first,
Gotcha.
and then I'm gonna put it up. I hope.
Okay.
Stop share content, photos. Oh, who's cute little is
I
that?
know, I don't know.
That's my little elf.
Okay.
That's the elf
Okay,
from my
so
business. Yeah, perfect.
It's called
Oh yes, I saw this one.
riding on a unicorn. You don't have to be a magician to press my joy button. Just hit me with the right discourse, then do justice to my clitoris, and we can take up spaces interspersed with a divine afterglow in which we ebb and flow like riding on a unicorn.
I love it. I love it.
But you know, after I did that, Chris Hedges, do you know Chris Hedges?
I'm familiar with this.
She is also in The Bad Influence.
Yes.
And she is transitioning from a man into a woman. So
Ah,
she used the same words, the same 10 words.
yes.
Magician, joy button, discourse, clitoris, spaces, afterglow, flow, ebb, and unicorn.
Yes.
I asked the magician to give me a clitoris. If we have hot discourse, I might let you play with my joy button. But I want you to do me justice. Send me into erotic headspaces, feeling the afterglow of our hot sex, the ebb and climaxes of our orgasms as they flow through our bodies. I am your special unicorn tonight.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I guess I should play, right? I just haven't been.
Yeah, you should.
You know, if anything, Susan, you should read some of the idea streams and see what
I have been reading them
because some of them are really cool, and that's what he's inspired a lot of stuff from me.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was him that inspired my dystopian diaries that I am having way too much fun writing, because I get to write it in any different character because it's an open write, so you ladies can write to it also.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's very.
I actually did an idea stream on Monday, my first one, and I kind of like just replicated what he did, but I just I tried to come up with some new ideas. So I came up with an idea for a limerick.
Nice.
And I'm working on like an agony column.
You know,
nice.
That's limericks. That's something else I'd like to read more about, study limericks.
I wrote a limerick. I have to tell you my limerick story. I had to go to a funeral of someone who's very, very close to me. And I struggled, it was a very close family. He was like a surrogate father, and his wife was a surrogate mother, and she died first, and he died. And the family, of course, asked me to the funeral because I'm part of the family. And I said, well, I'll read something, in eulogy at the funeral. And so I said, well, I'll write a poem. And so I did write a poem, but I started and finished and started and stopped. I couldn't come together with what I wanted. And finally, I wound up writing a limerick for the funeral.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. And
yeah.
I'll read it at some point, but not today, but it made people laugh at the funeral, and it was an interment. It was, they dropped the ashes into the ground. And my son was there when I finished it, and he approved. He loved it, and the family loved it too. But I never really, I hadn't done a lot of limerick work up until that point, but it just was a form that fit for this event. And limericks can be awfully fun because there's so much you can do with them. The structure just lends itself to, but I never would have imagined that I'd be writing a limerick for you. Hey, I just shared, I figured I'd read this one today.
Yeah, please. I keep trying to scroll down.
Yeah, no, you can't scroll down. I'll scroll for you. So this was something I published in MuddyUm that is, everybody was like in the beginning phases. This was March 19th, right?
Yeah.
It seems like ages ago. A message from your
heart. A long time ago.
Yeah. Please keep your fluids off my walls. And may your home always be too small to hold all of your friends. A well-known quote by somebody somewhere.
Yeah, by some human.
I know you are relegated to spending a lot of time with me now. A lot of time. An indeterminable amount. All of your time for the foreseeable future. This is not easy for you, I know, but it's really not easy for me either. Suddenly I have to deal with you all, your noise, your gaseous outputs, your sticky fingers 24/7, with none of the respites I used to gratefully look forward to. Look, I get
Yeah.
it. I'm willing to make this sacrifice for the benefit of humanity. But what about my needs? I just ask for a few things, please. Please keep your fluids off my walls. Wipe them down. Wipe them down. Microfiber cloths are the best. There's a procedure I'm fond of. Spray the antiviral fluid. Wipe down with the microfiber to grab the nasties. Then take a dry cloth and wipe again. That's it. It's a time-tested, perfect process. Also, make sure you put those cloths in the laundry once a day. I promise I won't mind all the outgassing if you just open the windows for a little fresh air from time to time. For goodness sake, while you aren't going to work or shopping or whatever it is you usually do while you are away, please just step out of the door for a few minutes and get a breath of fresh air. Take a blanket, lay in the grass. In fact, I don't even care if you have sex in the backyard. I promise I won't look. It would not hurt right now if you ventured into the basement or attic and dusted off those boxes and crates, and maybe even called for a dumpster and sorted and got rid of all the stuff you haven't looked at for like, what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Think it's like a hydrogen peroxide cleanse for my intimate dark spaces. And something else that might be nice would be to organize and get rid of all the cables. You know the ones, some in boxes, but some just laying around in dust-filled corners behind the audio-visual equipment.
Yeah, I've got that.
When they say, get your house in order, they never finish the saying. It actually goes like this: get your house in order so she can have a healthy immune system again. A clean house is a happy house. A happy house has a healthy immune system. A house with a healthy immune system just naturally has an osmotic effect. If you are living within me, you are living with my ecosystem. You know, the one that you helped culture. Oh, and can I put a word in for my friend the refrigerator? She and I go way back, college buds actually. We've seen a lot together. Have you heard that weird noise she emits every now and again? I fear for her health. She whispers about the dust collection under her feet and the fungus growing out of control inside her belly. Fridge candidiasis, and she says it's a killer. Would you give her a hand before we have to bury her in the backyard? I'd hate to lose her. I truly love her. Ove says, not to forget about him either. Something about sputtering through the caked on bits that make it hard to breathe and maintain a decent body temp. Metabolisms are so tricky these days. The laundry equipment won't let me finish this article without their say. They ask to please not overload for a healthy life. Too many pieces in a single load and your stuff won't get clean. And it's hard on the joints too. There's just no amount of osteobiflex that works for an aging washer or dryer. Lastly, the microwave. Geez, the noisiest child. Just a reminder, wipe, 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 inside and out. Oh, and the most important thing, for goodness sake, press stop before you grab the handle and pull your hotties out. More premature microwave deaths are due to premature food ejaculation than by any other single thing. It's true. It's an actual thing. That's it.
Great.
And our wish
That's
list.
great.
I'm not sure about my pronouns yet. We're working on that. Maybe Lee Azevedo can.
That's great.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I had fun writing that one.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. Yeah, I think it really works when you take the voice of an inanimate or a creature, like an animal that can't normally talk. Like when I wrote that piece about, you know, my dog not wanting to go in the kennels on the boat. And, you know, she's like, you know, you people have put me down here and you're going up in that lovely space. And it was just, and I'm sure she must think things like that because she's used to, you know, jumping on the sofa, you know, coming into all our spaces.
Yeah.
And suddenly she goes to a space where she's not allowed to go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, maybe she does get a bit kind of, and
Yeah.
she just barks constantly because she's like, how dare you, how dare you, how dare you.
Yeah. They don't like, they like routine. Animals definitely like routine, all of them. We
Yeah,
do
especially
too.
when they get to that age. She's almost 12, so she's quite fixed in her ways.
Yeah. So I thought you were I thought maybe you would show up, but it's your birthday. I thought maybe you'd show up in a pair of boxers today, but.
You know what? I was going to, and I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe my husband wore those ones today because I can't find them. I actually wore that out on the street, and I actually had people pointing at me. And so I only did it the once, but let me show you the picture.
You could do it and then post it. So Bin Isolation Outing has 500,000 members. So you could write a Medium article, photo, you know, do a little video of your you know, your boxer or, you know, thong mask, and then post it to Bin Isolation. You'd potentially have 500,000 people reading your posts on Medium.
Amazing.
Why
That's
not?
a great idea. That's a great idea.
So that's why I'm thinking, you know, if we started a Facebook group that, like, I don't know, did like dinner dress ups, or I don't know, something that's similar, and that we could actually write articles for, and we could promote our writings on our Medium writings on. I mean, look at 500,000 people, and that's a new Facebook page.
That's brilliant. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of
people.
Can
you see this picture? Can you see this picture?
Not yet.
No, we're still seeing it.
Am I sharing that?
Yeah, I see. Okay, now something. Hold on. It's loading.
Oh, it's loading. Okay.
I don't see it yet. I just see black.
Yeah, me
a black
too.
Screen.
I don't know why it's not coming up.
Something's coming. I see a yellow line.
Yeah, that's me. I pressed the wrong button. I forget how to.
Oh, you're writing something. You must have done
No,
white.
I didn't want to write anything. I wanted to show you me in the boxers. The boxer mask. Right, so preview. Okay, and then that's that. No. Right, can you see? I don't know why it's not sharing now. The last photo shared fine.
Yeah, this one's not sharing. Okay. Nope, nothing. Nothing's coming across.
Never mind. Let's have a look.
Well, happy birthday, Marla. Are you 25 now?
I'm 25 again for the 24th time.
All right.
Actually, no. I'm 25 again for the 34th time. 34th time. I know this because I had a baby on my 25th birthday. And today that baby is 34.
Wow. How cool.
You're 25 for the 34th time. That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it was kind of freaky. She was actually due like a week later, but she couldn't wait, so.
Perfect. Well, it makes you remembering how old you are.
Yeah.
You'll be able to say that joke very quickly, can't you? Huh? That's funny.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
Yeah. So we're doing a joint party tonight. So I hope it'll be fun.
A Zoom
so
party.
You have people coming.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah.
Wait, is that boxers?
Yeah, those are boxers. They were the least cruddy ones I could find.
I would hope so.
But actually, those are good looking boxers.
Yeah, they're nice.
Okay, you're gonna have to show me
I
how you
actually
folded
bought
that.
them. Yeah, the folding is in the story that I shared in Outlaw. It's called Guys Share Your Boxes.
Oh, I could. Okay, I saw it. I will read it now. That's funny.
Yeah. And that there's a video in there where she shows you how to put it on. So if you put it on the way she shows you, then it's really quite neat. And then you can
neat.
Yeah. Neat. Tidy.
Tidy.
Yeah.
Tidy.
Neat.
Don't know about this, but I'm curious.
I've got just for people who are maybe watching this later, I'm going to share it. I'm going to share a screen here in a minute. Here we go. So it's still loading, but yeah. So it's on MuddyUm.
Okay.
Guys, please share your boxes. Boxers. It turns out they make better masks than thongs. And then there's a link inside of there to the other one. Ladies, please share your thongs.
Yeah, there is.
They're both very, very funny.
Yeah, I think they're funny. So yeah, I think I've exhausted that subject now. I was kind of half writing one on, using nappies, unused nappies.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Unused nappies, thank you.
Yeah, that was my, I didn't want to ask. I wasn't going to ask. I was a little disturbed by
Americans.
Especially when you said they were the least cruddy ones you could find. I was thinking, okay, I don't know what they do in the UK, but
I did suggest to people they buy new boxes. I did suggest that.
Not everyone knows that nappies are diapers, baby diapers.
Oh yeah, diapers. Yeah, diapers.
In the U.S. The first time I heard nappies, I thought Trevor Noah has a very funny comedy bit where he's going to a taco stand and they ask him if he wants nappies, and
what do they mean, napkins?
It goes on. It's like you're gonna need these, and he's like, what? What?
They must be napkins, right?
Yeah. He's talking, the taco stand guy's talking about napkins, but of course Trevor's thinking he's going to need a diaper. He's like, because he's thinking nappies.
Yeah, it's funny when we use, like, what we call rubbers, you call erasers, and different words.
Yeah, I love
the different
that.
words that we all use.
I'm often torn about, changing spellings for the people that write with, British English, the Queen's English, right? Color, C-O-L-O-U-R, and we do C-O-L-O-R. And I think I've come to the conclusion that I just want to let it be.
Yeah.
People have figured it out, right?
Yeah, they do. They start reading, they think, oh, well, this person's writing, they're in the UK, that's why they're spelling like this.
Or Australia or New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
South Africa, yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed that when you use the tags, like HUMOR has, like, I don't know, 25,000.
Yes.
And HUMOUR has like 15,000.
Yes, so in some cases it's to your benefit, particularly in tags, to use the US the US tag, because you'll get more people to see
both. I use both.
Oh, you could use both.
Yeah. I mean, for the kicker, if I use a kicker for your for MuddyUm, I will use the American one.
But I want to share something with you. Here's why I wouldn't use both humor tags.
Okay.
So one of our writers, JJ Pryor, and there's other people who've done this too, she wrote an article And the article is called, I use this, I have it in my notebook, list of Medium top writer tags, number of hits and amount of writers. And so
Is JJ Pryor a girl?
like, I don't even know. Does it matter?
I thought JJ Pryor was male, but I don't know.
You know what? I don't think in terms of gender anymore. It's really very difficult for me. I just can't. I can't. And people what are your pronouns? And I'm like, please don't even make me have a pronoun, would you? I just don't even want to. Just call me whatever you like. Just don't call me late.
Call me Susan. Call me Susan.
Call me Susan. Don't call me late for dinner. But basically, these tags are important because these are the top writer badge tags.
Okay, I'm trying to become a top writer, but I'm
yes. So this is how you do it. This is how you do it. Okay. So I've had up to 13 top writer badges, and they come and go. It depends on how much you write in a category. But the way you do it is you have to use these tags. Well, humor, HUMOUR, is not in this tag. Is not in the list. So these are the top writer badges that are assigned. So if you want, this is like the Girl Scout manual. If you want a badge for this tag, you have to use this tag. And if you use it, so when I write a piece, I want to use 5 tags. You have 5 tags, right? I want all 5 of my tags to be a tag in this document. Okay?
Yeah.
So I refer to this every time I write. What do I want my tags to be? Right now, some of my tags are ingrained in my head because they're my top writer badges. I want to keep them, so I keep writing in those tags. But if I want to go after a new one, I go look in the document and I say, well, what new tag do I want to go in? Now, what's really fun about this article is there are tags, 33 tags. So some people say top writer tags don't matter, but they do matter because
they do matter.
If I go to somebody outside of Medium and I want to submit a publication, I want to submit to their publication and be a paid writer for them. Now I have a profile that says I'm a top writer in 10
You're a top writer, absolutely.
I'm a top writer, and they say, oh, we'd be happy to hear a pitch from you. We like experienced writers.
Yeah.
Now, why does it matter? There's 8 million, I forget what the last 6 or 8 million visitors a month to Medium. Now, of course, they're not all writers, they're readers.
No.
But of all those people, writers, readers, whatever they are, a top writer badge is only given to 50 people, 50. So out of the millions of people that spend time on Medium, only 50 can be in any top writer badge, okay? Now, at the end of JJ Pryor's article, it says, hey, there's 33 tags that are eligible for top writer status that don't have 50 writers in them. Literally, all you have to do is write articles in that category to get a top writer tag. Yes.
What are they? What are they?
I'm telling you, go to this document. Let me tell you the name of the document. Write this down. The name of the document, it was written November 16th, 2019. It's called List of Medium Top Writer Tags, Number of Hits and Amount of Writers. I'm going to get it up on the screen here in a second. And it's by JJ Pryor.
Okay. So is that published in Medium?
Yes, this is published in Medium. Hold on, I'm going to share the screen right now. Hold on.
Yeah, because JJ Pryor is an editor for a publication called Medium.
Yes, I know. And JJ Pryor also writes for Medium.
Yes.
So MuddyUm. Sorry, MuddyUm. For our comedy pub.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, great. I'm going to have a look at that because I would love to be a top writer.
So for instance, it's kind of surprising. So some of these categories, like for instance, there's a category, it's really funny. There's a category called 2016 election. I mean, it has 4 top writers. I think it would be really funny to write comedy things about the 2016 election, any 2016 election.
We had one in Britain. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What election? It doesn't, it's the most hilarious tag that
Yeah.
has 4 top writers in it.
Okay.
Okay, so here is, okay, let me get so you just go to the main page of Medium and search Medium and just go
Yes.
list of Medium top writer tags, JJ Pryor. And there it is.
Amazing.
And it's actually published in Medium.
Yeah.
And you know, it's really funny, like how many, since I started MuddyUm, there's so many humor publications that have started, which I knew there was a need. And I'm so happy, you know, that
You got in there early. You got in there early.
Yeah, but I'm just delighted that so many people have agreed that, you know, humor is definitely needed.
Yeah, humor's very important, especially at a time
important.
like this.
So that's it. You go to that.
Know what's happening.
Go to that thing and then just go ahead and print it. So there's 73 top writer tags. There's a new, this is not, since this is
oh
from
my God, cooking. I could do cooking. I love cooking.
Of course you can.
There's only 13
cooking only has 13 top writers in cooking.
Yeah.
So when I do cooking,
fashion,
10 top writers. So at the bottom of this
information, how new is this information? Where did he get it? Can we get updated information?
Well, that's the point. Is there's some there are some
diversity.
You know what? I'll see about getting it updated because this has been changed since this was published.
I would hope so.
I'll see about publishing a new version of it.
Yeah.
But this is very important because any of these 33 tags, and this is now 34, because there's some new ones in here. Like there's one for writing at home. I forget the name of the tag, but I'll look to republish this. But this is
wow. Look, Black Lives Matter only has 11.
Yeah.
No, this is very useful information, Susan.
Yeah. So I highly recommend that you definitely. A lot of people say, well, being a top writer doesn't mean anything in terms of. Now look at this one. This is has the lowest ratio of tags. So satire, LGBTQ space. This means that not a lot of people are reading in that space.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of writers in there.
Well, not necessarily. It's easier to get these badges. But not as people want to write in a category where there's more writers.
Yeah.
But to get these badges, I say go for it because why not? If you have a profile that sports top writer badges, it adds credentials. We take for granted what we do on Medium because we are on it every day.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, you know, if you're slinging burgers every day, you go, I'm slinging burgers every day.
Yeah.
Well, our version of slinging burgers is, you know, writing.
Yeah.
We're writing every day, so we go, well, it's easier for us to do, so, you know, yeah.
And do you think you could go through your old stories? Could you go through your old stories and re-tag them?
You could, but I don't think it works that way because the way they do the top writer badges is it's on a time cycle, so every 30 days or every, you know, they look at how many articles did you post over a time period, and then they award the top writer badges based on that. And so it's really a statement of volume. It's not necessarily a statement. It's not necessarily a statement of I have 1,000 claps. It's a statement of are you active in that space?
Yeah.
More so, right? And then the claps will come the more active you are in a space. So here's my profile. I've got these come and go: women in text, television, satire, ideas, reading, humor. I sometimes have inspiration. I have food. I have cooking. I haven't done a food or cooking piece for a while. I often have travel in here. I haven't done a travel piece for a while. So if I stop writing in a category, the tags go away. But if I start writing a lot in a category, then the tags appear.
So you haven't put this in, top writer. Medium put it in.
Right, medium, it's like it's like an award. You're granted this award, my dear.
Fantastic.
So here's a mistake in thinking. Some people say, well, top writer doesn't mean anything because it doesn't translate directly into more money in my monthly paycheck from Medium.
Yeah.
That's faulty logic.
Yeah.
It's bad thinking.
Yeah.
And the reason it's bad thinking is that once you have top writer badges, knowing what I just shared with you about how many people, you never know who's going to look at your writing, and then they're going to go to your profile and they're going to say, well, who is this Marla Bishop? Who is this Nancy Arvizu? Who is this Susan Brearley?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's somebody who's a top writer in these 10 categories. Wow. Prolific writer. That right there talks to your consistency. It talks to your writing habits, who you are, right?
Yeah.
So I say, don't be dissuaded by people who are saying, top writer badges, who cares? No, care.
Oh, I'm definitely going to go for one. I'm going to go try cooking. I could definitely write something on cooking every day, probably.
So from a strategy standpoint, the first thing you do is pick a badge, whatever the badge is, and write a topic in that category every single day.
Yeah.
2 if you can.
Yeah.
My strategy is 2 articles a day. I take a day off every once in a while, but my strategy is 2 articles a day. This year I'm trying to do 3 articles a day. And then I track it in my tracking journal. I have, like, besides all the other things I track, how many, my goal is 2 articles a day. And so in January, I have, how many did I do in February and March and April?
With your 2 a day per 2 a day per tag, or just 2 a day?
No, just 2 a day. But remember, you have 5 tags. So when I do those 2 articles a day, basically in every article, I'm trying to build into that article 5 tags from that top writer tag list.
Yeah.
So I may write a haiku, and in there I can say, poetry. I often have poetry as a top writer tag. So I could have poetry. That's a top writer tag. I could have poetry. I could have food. I could have cooking. I could have inspiration. So I picked 5 tags that are in that list that qualify for top writer badge.
Yeah, that is a great idea. I was just going to say, instead of having a book for your money tracking, you can use an app like Spendy. I love Spendy because every time you spend Spendy, SPENDEE, every time you spend anything, you put it in Spendy in its category. So, like, let's say you pay your telephone bill, then you put it in as a bill, and at the end of the month, they give you a graph of where all your money went.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
That's a great way of tracking. I mean, it'll take you a month to track the first month, but it's okay. Because then at the end of the month, you can look and you can say, oh, I was going to spend $400 on food, but look, I've spent $600. And then, you can either try and change it or whatever you want to do.
Oh, I'll check that out. I just started using apps more. I use one called...
It's much easier than tracking on paper because it does all the maths for you.
Yeah.
And then you just get in the habit. I mean, now if I go to the shop and I buy something, I'm waiting for the receipt. I put it in my app. It takes like 2 seconds.
Well, Susan, I want to hear what app you're using to keep track, and then I want to know how many journals you have that you keep track of.
I probably have a dozen. I probably have a dozen journals.
Yeah.
That are active. Okay, so this one is my personal daily journal, and I journal in this morning and night. When I wake up, when I wake up with like ideas fresh from the dream world, and then at night before I go to bed, and to remind myself to ask my subconscious for, you know, to solve a problem, to work on a problem.
Right, right.
So that's my personal journal. And then this one goes with a book that I'm currently reading that's called The Millionaire Master Plan. And so this one is designed because I have a goal to become the first millionaire in my family. And so this journal, so this journal is actually the working journal that goes with the Millionaire Master Plan. So that's building that plan. This journal is, so see, some of them are really fancy and some of them are like not so fancy. This one is just a tracking journal that has like just things that like cash flow in, cash flow out, writing goals. I have courses completed, like so that when I get to the end of the year, I know what classes and courses I actually finished, which is a really big deal for me because I'm a starter, not a finisher.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Then this journal is work that I'm doing with, let's see. Oh, this one is, there's a motivational speaker, Kyle Cease, and he has a website called the Everything Pass. And so it's like $29 a month. And then I go through all of the workshops and stuff. And this is the notebook and the journal that goes with that. This journal is the journal that is this one. This one has, I belong to some motivational speaking stuff that it's like personal development, goal setting. So this is like personal coaching. And there's a couple of personal coaches that I have. And so all the personal coaching notebook, that's what this is. And then I have.
Are you keeping count, Nancy? I lost count.
I think she's at 6.
I think she's on 10. I think she's on 10, journals.
That was 5. I just gave you 5. This is 6. This one is, let's see, hold on a second, I'll tell you. This one is I should be able to look at it by the notes. Oh yeah, I think this is my Ninja Writer notebook. No, no, it's not. It's, is it? No. Oh no, this is neuro. Yeah.
There's a new Ninja Writer thing starting today, I think, or tomorrow.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I wanted to go, but I haven't got any more time.
This I know. This notebook is neurosculpting. So I'm gonna have a certification at the end of the year. It's a course that I'm going through. And it's a neuroscience thing. And this is the notebook that goes with that, the journal that goes with that. Right. That's 6. This little one is where I write jokes on the road. So it's really small. So if I go out, I put this in my bag. And if I'm, you know, wherever I am, like Barnes and Noble or wherever I am, and then something funny happens. And then this is like, you know, comedy jokes on the run. That's that little notebook.
So you're not a great believer in digitalizing?
Or trees?
Well, from a neuroscience standpoint, one of the things I learned is that the process of handwriting wires things into your brain differently.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's why this is a mental models journal. So I study mental models like, you know, Pareto principle, 80-20, polymath, you know, all the different ways of looking at things as mental models. So that's my mental models notebook. Then this one is, I'm working on a lean startup, like a new entrepreneurial, like it's a new business that I'm starting. And so this is a notebook that's specifically designed for that work.
Well, it's amazing. You know what every one of them is.
Yeah. This one is, very in-depth on one of my personal coaches with one of my personal coaches. And then this one is a poetry notebook. It specifically goes with me when I go on retreat and I'm writing poetry and haiku and stuff like that. And
Nice.
that's one. And then I have.
I think it's so interesting because I've always tried to, I used to do it like this too, where I had all these different books for all these different things and it drove me nuts. And now I've always tried to put everything into like one notebook, but you can see how it's like, but I cycle it through. Like I only carry 1 or 2 months at a time with me. And it's like I want all of my notes with me all the time. It's such a need for me right now. It's weird.
Yeah, so this is my old personal notebook. This one's full, and I have like a million of these personal notebooks sitting on a shelf.
Do you always buy the same personal notebook? Does it always look the same?
No, I mix it up.
Okay.
Like here's a new one I just bought that I just really love the cover. And it's like a lot of people get journals and they're like, oh, they're too pretty, I can't write in them. I'm like, no, I'm writing in all of them. They're pretty for me. It's not, like it's because when I take it out and touch it and look at it, it's inspiring. So I'm writing in all my pretty notebooks. This one is also a travel notebook and a meditation notebook. It has hedgehogs on it. That one actually a friend bought for me. This one is specifically goes with me when I go to Mohonk Mountain House on retreat. And then
I like how you keep them specific for like I like that.
And then this one,
we start doing it again.
And this is specifically for writer and travel retreats, because Christy Keller and I are, wanting, before COVID started, we were working on doing writers retreats and doing them in a different destination every year and traveling around the world with that. And that's what this journal is. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have 14 active journals
14,
right now.
yeah.
Active.
Yeah, very good. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to go because I really want to get like half an hour nap and then I have to do some other stuff before my party.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Have a good party.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll see you guys again soon. Sunday, probably. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay.
And that was way cool. I 14 active journals. That's
14
inspiring to me.
Yeah.
I agree about writing it down. I tried to go digital for a while and it just didn't work for my note keeping.
Right. There's a reason why I used to have one journal at a time. And then what happened is I started to study a bunch of different topics. This all started when I started with this neuroscience summit that I did like a year ago, a little over a year ago. And then, I started meditating seriously and I did the neuroscience thing and I just started to kind of branch off into a lot of different fields of interest that I wanted to do deeper dives in. And I found after some time, even though at that time I had one journal, and I started taking copious notes for lots of things that I was working on. I have a sailing notebook too, that's 15. I didn't include that one. But I have I have an actual captain's log.
Oh, how cool.
It is, it's an actual captain's log. And
neat. I want one.
It's not as active. It's not as active as the other ones because here in the Hudson Valley, I can only sail, when the weather's good. When winter comes, unless I were to go, captain's log. Unless I was to go, to the Caribbean or someplace, then this becomes like inactive for several months of the year. But that's actually a nautical map of the Hudson River, and that's my captain's log. So there's actually 15. But anyway, what happened was I started this really, after doing the Julia Cameron, It's Never Too Late to Begin Again, and the neuroscience thing, and I started doing all these things, I found that it became confusing because I'm journaling and journaling and journaling on every activity I do all day long, and then copious notes, and then pages and pages and pages and pages, and I'm blowing through personal journals like crazy. And then when I have to go back and find a thing, and this is where digitalization helps, but there's a lot to be said for the handwritten thing. It does really change how you wire in your brain, and I've seen the effects of it, and I know the science of it. So I just said to myself, I had been in a coaching class and somebody had suggested about having different journals, and I thought, I never really considered doing that before, but let me see about that. And so I took my personal journal and kind of declared it personal journal. And I started my first journal that was topical, and found that it was really easy for me to then say, now I know that's, and you know what? I have a comedy journal too. I forgot. So I have 16.
We're up to 16 now.
Oh, you know why? Because it's in my computer notebook. The other one, I have a Ninja writer's notebook and a comedy journal, so I have 17. So basically, what I found was then if I'm going into a conference call or a Zoom call or something that's topical to that area, all I have to do is get that journal out. And now I know I can see exactly where I was last, and I can see all my notes, and I can refer to those notes, and it's all right there. And it's really speedy fast. It's not, sometimes it's really hard for me to find things digitally. Like there's so much stuff online. I can't put my fingers on it. But with a journal, I can exactly put my fingers on it immediately.
And then not just that, when you're looking at it, you remember, oh, I wrote this on this page. It's right in the center somewhere, and I made a doodle there. And you can there it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I remember the doodle, and I remember this is really important, and I can put a big star or a big whatever there. And
all right, you convinced me. I'm going back. I used to keep books like that because I love just the writing of it. You know, I love this. And I think I have very beautiful handwriting too. So I would like to swirl and I would doodle and stuff. And in just keeping a planner like this, where this is one day, I don't have enough to keep all that I do in one day. And I'm trying to figure out like, how do you use the little thing to do this? And then, you know, how to use all these different sections. But
right.
Yeah, I have all these empty journals and I'm thinking, okay, now that makes sense.
It makes sense, right? But here's the other really little bonus thing about it is, I don't know about you, but when I go into a bookstore, I'm so happy about Audible because I don't have like a million books collecting dust in my house anymore. So that's good. But I still like the feel of a book.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go into a bookstore, I love to look at the titles, and that gives me also ideas for what I'm gonna, download in audiobooks. But with a journal, I can go to the journal section and I can look at a pretty book and I can feel the texture, and I can take that home and say, that's gonna be a journal for some purpose when I blow through the journal that it'll be my next personal journal, or it'll be my next coaching journal, it'll be my next poetry journal, whatever it is. And I don't have to feel guilty about taking home an absolutely beautifully done, artistic, right, book that I know I am going to write in. So it's useful. I don't have to feel guilty about, oh, there's a book on my shelf that I'm not getting around to reading it. I don't feel guilty about buying these beautiful journals.
Yeah.
They're this is working. This is my work supply, right?
Yeah.
So I can surround myself with these beautiful pieces of art and not feel at all guilty about it, and have it be a useful tool. And I know exactly what I'm going to do with it.
I love it. Okay, you convinced me. Once this thing runs out, I'm going back to my journals because it makes so much more sense, especially from a creative standpoint, in that it limits me in my space of how much I can write. And then I've either got to get another note paper, and then where does that go, and shoving it in there, and it just gets, so yeah, this has been a very informative little talk. Every time I talk to you, I take notes. I just want you to know.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's
So
nice.
yeah, I'm looking forward to your list of books you must read. You got to write an article about that.
I am going to write an article about that. I haven't scoped it out yet because I wanted to talk about these retreats I'm doing this summer, and the book list will go into that. And I just haven't decided, how much of the I'm still in my personal journal. I'm still scoping out kind of what I want brainstorming still what the retreats are going to look like. So.
And the retreats are for writers?
The retreats are actually a collaboration. They are, what they're going to do is they're going to have a mixed audience. So there'll be people who have any experience in the STEAM field. So that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So people who have, so it's not exclusively for writers, although I certainly hope that, somebody who's, a decent writer wants to come. It'll probably have a price tag of about $1,500 for the week. It's all your meals, room and board included, and the retreat. And it will have a strong nature component. It'll have a meditation component. It will have a component. It'll have the promise of helping to bust through existing biases or cognitive biases that people either know they have or don't even realize they have yet. So, I'm going to definitely bring my neuroscience studies into it and my meditation studies into it.
Yeah.
Then, but also, I think at least in the beginning, we're going to have, it'll kind of be like a Big Brother or Survival kind of thing, where you get voted off. You don't get voted off the island, but what I'm thinking about right now, and I'm not 100% tied to it yet, but I'm thinking that half of the people will get their full tuition, I'm calling it tuition, their full fees refunded. So let's say I have a cohort of 8 people, right? And they come from all these different fields. So I'm not going to have like 5 engineers and 2 writers. I'll have somebody somebody with a science background, somebody with an engineering background, one person representing each field.
Right.
Right. And there'll be an elder, there'll be a program director, there'll be a chef. So the food will be like gourmet food. And then it's designed to have these collaborative conversations with each other. And then at the end, we want to get all the feedback for the model. This is a new model that I'm designing. So we get feedback from everybody for how the week went. But then also people in the cohort get to kind of vote and talk about who in the cohort, and it's very subjective, right? Who in the cohort most made created the space for me personally to have an aha moment, to change my thinking about a thing, most impacted the future direction of my life, most influenced me in terms of, how I think about what I think about and what my life is like. So this is really it's really designed to be a very much, we become ambassadors of ourselves. We become ambassadors of our own space, and our own space being not just our physical bodies and the space that we live in, but the mental space that we live in. We are ambassadors of our own space. This is what TED Talks is about, right? Is we listen to TED Talks and we think, wow, that's something that I just learned in that field that I didn't even realize that field even existed, right? And so when you bring all these people together from all these different walks of life, and they live together in a space, in a community space cooperatively, that space by itself becomes transformative for everyone that's in the space, right?
Yeah.
And so it's $1,500. So these are people who are like really, very curious minds and very able to be the ambassador for the thing that they care about, and willing to share. And maybe these are people who want to create their own TED Talks, but having that input will help them. And so everybody comes into the space with their own personal agendas. But the number one thing is that you want to have that curious mind, and you want to listen and learn and share and all of that. And so at the end of the experience, half of those people, depending on how they participated and how others ranked their participation, will be eligible to have their fees refunded.
Wow. Wow. So you're
Right?
really wanting their participation. So people are going to work towards participating.
I really want their participation. And why am I willing to refund half the money? I'm willing to do that because coming out of I'm so convinced that this model is special and important to humanity that I'm willing to put that money back out in exchange for those people sharing their stories and their testimonials about how this model works.
Very cool.
So I'm working on that right now.
Very cool. Well, what time is it? I should get going too.
Yep,
It's already
me
been.
too.
But thank you so much. When do we do this again? She said
The next one is on Saturday.
Saturday.
At 4 p.m. Eastern.
4 p.m. Eastern.
4 p.m. Eastern. So now you've got me curious, and I'm going to go find if I can get a horse.
Well, be careful. They're more work than you really want. They always
I'm thinking it would be fun to have a little horse that I can like ride up and down my driveway. I have like a killer driveway.
How long is it? You'll spend more time tacking and untacking than you will riding.
I own a road.
Okay.
I own a road. Yeah.
I always thought that my daughter, we have a pony of the Americas, a little Appaloosa pony. And I always thought when she got too big to ride him that I would hook him up to a cart.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he would pull a cart. And that never happened. Instead, I would go for a ride and I would pony him. So I would just take him for a, kind of a tag along ride. And then there was times I would just go for hikes out here and I would just take him for a walk.
Nice.
He's that good of a horse. So yeah.
That's fun.
I
like the idea of a pony cart and just like putting people in the cart and then just like shuttling them up and down.
Yeah. There was a woman out here when we first moved here who had minis, and she would hook them up to a cart to drive her kids down to the bus station, to the bus stop. And so they would, go on their minis to the bus stop. And I thought that was kind of neat.
That is fun. That's way fun.
You see stuff like that here. You see stuff like that out here. Although one of the funniest things that happened to us when we were out riding was a donkey followed us home.
What? It just followed you home?
A donkey, just a little donkey who had gotten out of somebody's yard, and it, saw a herd, so it went with the herd and it followed us home. And she was just the coolest donkey. By the end of the day, I was calling her Babs. She was a badass bitch. Because I had 3 boy horses at the time. And she just put them under control. I have one that's a very aggressive horse, and he has his stall, and the empty stall was next to him. And she would get right up to that edge and be like, back off, this is my space. And he, she just took control. So we were calling her badass bitch. Badass and beautiful is what I was calling her, but Babs.
Babs.
And
is that where Babs comes from?
Badass and beautiful. I've always used that. Anytime, like if I was the the head parent at some school, where you're the chaperone for a field trip, my group was always the Babs group. And I would never tell them what, because they were kids. They couldn't know what that was until she got into high school. And then, we're the Babs group, But yeah, Badass and beautiful. but that was so funny. You know, living out here, there's strange things that could follow you home. I had a donkey follow me home.
That's really funny. Yes. Can I keep him? Can I
Yeah,
keep him?
yeah. Well, she didn't want to go home either. They, the owners were on vacation, so it was a caretaker who was coming, who had to come and get it. And she didn't want to go with him, so my husband had to walk her all the way home.
Wow.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, and you know, our four-leggeds are really very sensitive to human
Yeah,
intention.
yeah. But the last thing I wanted was a donkey. You know how much noise they make?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Worse than a rooster.
Yeah. Although, so I was telling you when we first moved in here about the horses, the guy down the street who was all worried about us in the water, I said, you know, horses wasn't really my first choice. I could always switch back to pigs and roosters.
Pigs and roosters.
They let me keep the horses. Like he had a say in the matter, right? But yeah.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
I wanted to raise pigs and roosters. Are you better with that? You know, I don't think
So,
they
so are these the naked neighbors?
No.
No, oh, different. So they can always just like over dinner say, well, at least she doesn't have pigs and roosters.
Yeah, yeah. And big fans installed to make sure the wind goes a certain way, you know?
Yeah, because pigs are pretty smelly.
Oh, yeah. But they're great, you know, they're great.
Although people have indoor pigs now, and then, you know.
Crazy.
They get bad.
Yeah, there's people out here, you know, water is an issue. And then people move out here to get away from people, and then people move in next door and they don't like that.
Yeah.
You know, we still live next to each other. An acre is not that big.
It's not that big. No, that's why I was surprised about your horses. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go investigate. I'm probably not gonna get a horse though.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
You can always come visit me and practice for a little bit.
I am planning a world tour in 2026.
I think so.
I'm planning on visiting like all the MuddyUm writers that I've made friends with all around the world, and Airbnb people too. You
can do it Forrest Gump style, where we all kind of follow you around.
Oh yeah, why not? Come on. But I'm definitely gonna, visit everybody that I can, and in the U.S. too. But I think I'm gonna start by going to England first.
I want to go to Finland.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Finland.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go visit Marla. I'm gonna go visit Lee. I'm gonna visit Lisa Boland.
Yeah.
I also have to go to like South Africa and visit Caroline. I have some people in India I have to visit. I have people in New Zealand and Australia, Taiwan, Japan, China. Sweden. I forgot Sweden. I have people in Sweden. And then of course there's people in Canada and all throughout the United States as well. So yeah, it's a whole world tour.
Okay, I might Forrest Gump you a little bit on that.
It's going to take a year. It's going to take a minimum of a year. And so I'm actually planning it now. Like I'm figuring out like all the things I have to do up until that point. And it's a lot. It's a big deal, so.
Very cool. I like the goal.
A lot of things to prepare. Yeah.
All right, girl.
Yeah, you can come, Nancy.
All right, I'll be following you around because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to travel the United States. This is when I was like in my 20s. In a motorhome. I wanted a motorhome and write and play golf.
You could do that.
That's what I want to do.
You can do that.
I'll just follow you around and do that.
But the first step to doing that is you have to get your travel, the United States journal, and then you have to write all the stuff down. You have to write the goal down, and then having the journal just for that is the thing that makes the intention and the language, like as soon as you write it down, now intention becomes real.
Oh God, Susan, we could talk for hours. I showed you my journey journal, right? I showed you that. Okay, wait. Okay, you got 10 more minutes here. Hold on.
I'm okay.
Let me grab two things here. Hold on. So a friend of mine died last year very suddenly from epilepsy, and she was also a writer. And so in her memory, I created a journal. And the reason I created a journal, and it's it's a journey journal, and it's 180 pages of, there's where you can doodle and there's sayings and stuff. And it's proceeds of it go to 2 organizations that the Danny Did Foundation and the Chelsea Hutchins Foundation, who provide technology and specially trained dogs for people living with epilepsy so that they can live safe, independent lives. Because my friend Jerry was found alone after she had suffered from an epilepsy seizure. So one of the things that we had our very last long conversation a couple months before she died, because we talked about these kind of deep things all the time. We had both been going through a lot of crap in our lives. And as writers, one of the rules is you write what you know, right?
Yes.
Well, I had decided that I was going to write what I know, and I wasn't going to hold back anymore. And I would do it my way, and the way I do it, I write nonfiction as fiction, but I kind of call people out on it. But one of the things that we talked about was you got to write down that journey. You got to tell that story. You got to speak your truth, because that's why we're all fucked up here, right? That's why we need to write. But then you got to move on to what's next. After you've connected all those dots, now you write down what you want for next in your life, what you desire.
Yes.
You write it down and you give it out to the universe to manifest.
Yes. Yes.
And that's why I created this specifically for that. That's what this story is about, to connect the dots, become who you are meant to be, so that you can go out in the universe and be who you're supposed to be.
So help me understand something, Nancy. This journal isn't a journal that you bought. It's a journal you created.
I created it. I actually know a publisher he was just on the news recently. He creates whimsy wood puzzles. That's his new thing. So if you look him up, but he's been in the actual book publishing business for at least 15, 20 years. And he makes journals for other people, who sell journals. Nice. So this is a journal for other people to write their story in. Nice. And it has there's a little 1.5 page about my friend Jerry.
How well is it doing? Is it doing well?
No,
sales?
I sell about 10 or 15 a month. I don't really know marketing that well. Mm-hmm. And I just have it in, just online. It's just, people I know. And then when I write and then I talk to people, somebody might buy one.
Nancy,
I would like to sell more.
Nancy, do you have is it on Amazon? Is it something you can buy on Amazon?
Not on Amazon, because I personally physically have them in my hand. And Jeff,
but you can sell things on Amazon and have them physically in your hand. That's what I do. I've done that for years. Probably.
I haven't done that. Yeah, I haven't looked into that. That is something I should probably look into.
Well, on the side, if you would like to have a chat sometime, not part of this thing, but I can give you some.
Absolutely, I would love that. But that's all. Where we talked about is it's about writing it down. And it's something about putting that, those words down on paper and then giving it up to the universe is very,
it's critical. It's really, really critical. But that journey journal, since you don't have a link to it, because here's how my mind works.
I do. I have it online. I have a website for it. I have a Squarespace page for it.
Oh, perfect. I have that. Oh, that's perfect. Because, my brain is always about, not always, but, I like to monetize things whenever I can, because you got to have money to pay the bills. And, Janie just wrote a really good article about why writers need to be paid. You don't have somebody do your taxes. And as she said in her article, have somebody do your taxes and then they come back and you come back to them and say, oh, well, thank you for doing my taxes, but, I'm just going to cook dinner for you for the next,
Yeah.
To pay for your time. You could, sure, why not? But you still, in this, the way the construct is the way it is right now, we can barter as much as we can, which is all well and good, but we still need money for some things.
Right. I still got to pay the electricity bill with money. Right.
Yeah. The electric company doesn't give a rip about what barter arrangement you think you might want to make.
Yeah.
So you still need money. So here's the thing. I'm thinking, I'll post this video and then underneath it in the comments, I'll be like, Nancy's got this fabulous journal that she created that is called the Journey Journal that would work well with for instance, any Julia Cameron thing that program that you're working on. I mean, that, you can dovetail onto something.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with the Julia Cameron stuff, right?
I want to say yes. Cameron sounds Julia, though. I don't know if that sounds.
Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way.
Oh, we were just talking about her. Yes.
Yeah, The Artist's Way.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds to me like, so it's, it's a big journaling thing. It's like journal every morning, and there's a whole process.
Right.
So gosh, I would love to see that journal. It sounds like a really good one.
Well, I could sell you one. I can't give them away because it's a deal I have.
You don't want to give things away. You never want to give things away, but I'm always buying journals.
Yeah.
Nice. How much do you get for that journal?
They're $25.
Okay.
And like I said, a portion of the proceed goes to 2 foundations that support people living with epilepsy.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful. It's a hardcover. It's wider.
I'll take one. Yeah, I'll take one.
It's beautiful, and I would love to send you one. Absolutely.
Yeah. So when we get off, you can send me the link. Yeah, send me the link.
And then I'd love to brainstorm with you some more of how to get this out more. This is what started me down this part of my path of, Jerry and I had talked so much about what we wanted to do with writing, and losing her and then going through this was of putting this together. Started, I wrote 2 other books about it. I wrote a lot on MuddyUm about it, and it made me realize how important our stories are. And you writing in the journal, I think we had this conversation about, I don't have anything written in my grandmother's hand. And
yes, we did.
It's so important to have that, because it's such a connection to our past and who we are, and helps us connect the dots of who we are so that we can move on in this journey.
Yeah.
And
so
to not have that is
I remember having the conversation with you about the journal, and I remember, this is so funny how we construct our language, right? So I remember you saying, I created this journal. And, when I think about creation, I think about, sitting down and writing. I don't necessarily think, like the act of doing a thing and saying, I have this thing and I sell it. Like, we often are so shy that we'll say, I created this thing. And then everybody goes, oh, that's really nice. I like that you did that. But then we don't take the next step that says, and I sell it. You can get one too. Yeah. Because we think somehow that if we are selling something, that makes us like, I don't know what, like evil, or, we have a weird relationship with sales and money. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, we all sell something. We all are selling something. I once in IBM had a guy come to me, and he gave me an article, because I was a systems engineer and they wanted me to be a marketing rep, a sales rep. And he gave me this article, and it said, everybody sells something. And it just totally turned my head around about how, people think sales and they automatically think car salesman, but, not everybody's selling a car. Some people have this amazing story, and selling isn't necessarily about, buy this thing now, please, and being desperate. It's about sharing our story. Selling is sharing a story. It is sharing a story about, like, see, now I'm ready to buy your journal because now, but I had to dig hard to get you to tell me that you have this thing for sale, right? Because we're shy. We're just naturally shy about that, and you have to not be shy about it. So let me give you another example, just one other example about how it is that we take language and we're not clear. This is in that thing about speaking truth too. So in my second marriage, I started dating this guy, and he was like the best dancer. Oh my God, like we danced everything. Like, pick a dance form. He and I were the best dancers on the dance floor, always. Everywhere we went, everybody was like, oh my God, those two, But, having dance as a hobby isn't enough for a whole relationship. But, at the time I was young, and I thought it was whatever. You live, you learn. Anyway, at one point early in the relationship, he said, I get depressed. And I thought, yeah, well, we all get depressed. I get depressed, we all get, and people, from a mental health standpoint, we don't necessarily have those conversations, say to people, if you say, I get depressed, it's really easy for somebody to just kind of gloss over that and say, and if you're that person saying, I get depressed, it's really kind of incumbent on you then to also say, wait, stop, don't gloss over this. No, I have been diagnosed clinically with clinical depression. I have had situations where I've been in therapy for years and on drugs and and you know what, that conversation never happened. And twice I've been involved in relationships where the person had some kind of mental illness, and they started a conversation, and they number one, didn't push the conversation to where it should have gone. And I, number two, didn't poke at and ask the questions to get more information either.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the thing that we all do. And right, and it happens in relationships, but it also happens in sales and marketing. We want to do sales and marketing. We want to have that success, but we don't want to be the one that's pushing. We want somebody else to be poking and saying, ask me the question, ask me the question, ask me the question. Well, they might and they might not. And so, like, on both sides, this is what makes it a conversation, right? One of us has to push and one of us has to poke, right? There has to be that push and pull. It's like that Dr. Dolittle thing, the push me, pull you, you know, that has to happen, the yin and yang of it. So when you first mentioned it, I didn't poke at it, right? And you didn't push it either.
Yeah.
And then it just was.
We were talking about I think
something else. It was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's like, you know, I get that lesson over and over again in the universe with relationships with people, is like, you know, sometimes we have to slow down and ask more questions. And sometimes we have to be just a tad more aggressive. And then when we're able to do both sides of that, then we make real leaps.
Yeah.
Right, in where we want to go.
I think it's also timing and attention. You know, the signs are going to come up over and over again. Are we paying attention, and is it the right time?
Yes.
That's something I've learned, because, like, you know, you talked about the limerick you wrote for the funeral. I wrote something to read at Jerry's funeral, and I didn't read it. I was so, you know, I couldn't do it. And that was part of my motivation of, I didn't step up in that moment. So that motivated me to do this, you know, to do the journal that led me to another thing that led me to another thing. So was I supposed to get up and speak that day? Maybe not, but I was meant to write what I wrote. And I'll send you a link to that too. You know, it's become kind of the fire under my ass to keep doing everything I'm doing, because she was a really good writer.
Yeah.
And she didn't do it. You know, she had 4 unfinished manuscripts, and you know, I've got one of them. I want to publish it, but you know, it's just, life is short, and you got to know what you want and go after it.
Right.
And
life is really
short. Those journals makes it a focus, and that's way cool.
Yes. Then you're right, that life is short, and I feel like I don't like every day is a blessing, and I don't want to get to the end of my life and say, oh my God, there were like 50 more stories that I needed to tell and I didn't tell any of them. And you know, and then no one will ever hear those stories, and they'll just be lost with the wind. And that's why we write. That's why it's important. And you're right. And the journal is a first step. I really believe in the journals, but I think timing is important. And I think there's one other thing that's important, and that's trust. Because if we, you know, we often don't push or pull or poke because we think somehow that, well, I'm not sure if I, you know, in our mind, there's that message that plays. I'm not sure if I can trust this person. Brene Brown, I just love everything that Brene Brown, I binge read everything Brene Brown ever wrote, like, you know, in the course of like 30 days last year.
Yeah.
And, you know, this idea that, you know, I don't know if I can trust you. And so therefore, I don't know that I can release my words into the world. I don't know that I can put myself out there. I don't know that I can share my heart like that because it might get hurt. It might get broken, right? I might come out absolutely feeling, you know, damaged and hurt and in all of that. So we hold back.
Yeah.
And then because we hold back, we miss opportunities for connection. We miss opportunities for, you know, making a living. We miss so many opportunities. We basically are sitting in our rabbit hole saying, I'm just going to play it safe because, you know, there's lions and tigers and bears out there.
Yeah.
And I might get hurt. But there's actually not lions and tigers and bears. Most of the lions and tigers and bears, oh my, are in our heads.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And we just don't want to. And will we still get hurt? Will we still put ourselves out there and still get hurt? Absolutely.
Part of
Absolutely.
life, right.
But every time we do, there's a little bit of growth, right? Somebody, I wrote a story called Two Deaths. And somebody came back and said, you know, yeah, every time there's grief, you know, there's grief every time there's loss, and every time this happens, it's just like another layer comes off for you to see some, you know, another veil, right? It disappears, and then you go through that, and then you learn something about yourself.
Yeah.
And
That's exactly what the last 2 years of my life have been.
right?
You know, it's been one loss that just really opened, and then another loss that really opened. And it's, yeah. And then this all happening is like almost another loss that's bringing all this other stuff to the surface. It's been very interesting.
Yeah.
But, you know, I got to say, being able to write about it that's my mental health, I don't know, routine. That's my medicine. That's my therapy. You know, that's huge. And
It's huge.
to have those stories is, you know, those are my stories. That's my life.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that writing is definitely a salvation for sure.
Okay,
Well, this has been lovely.
it's always talking. It's so good to talk to you. It's so cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. I like talking with you too. Okay, so I'm going to post this, and and then send me some links so I can like.
I will. I'll get on. I got to run out and take care of stuff out here, but I'll get back on. I'll just send them over.
What do you have Squarespace, or like you can just buy it on a website and then pay online, and then that's
yeah.
cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Susan. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.